My name is Alice Prentice. I spend a lot of my life walking this dog. I know what I want and I sort of go get it. That was my biggest failure, was not getting into Glasgow School of Art. I was just like, oh, that's it, like that's the end of my art career before it's even started. But actually, I would say the biggest failure in that is like, I think I sometimes fail to like steer from the path that I've decided. So like, I actually ended up going to Dundee, which was the better decision. It's such a good degree and it was like a nice school and I loved Dundee so much. It was a failure, but also like I accidentally fell into something better anyway, so it's good. He's a cool dog. I'm very grateful for him. He's good. I am grateful for my family. I do like them a lot. Sometimes I don't, but I do love them a lot. Some people are not grateful for their family. I do love mine a lot, so I like them. I'm now very grateful to have my own home. I'm grateful for my friends, like my closest friends, and also the ability to express myself using writing or illustrations. I think it's important. When I was depressed or whatever, when I was at uni, like my counsellor told me that I had to write 3 positive things every day, and that was nice. At first it was really difficult because they made you, like, I couldn't think of, because I was depressed, I couldn't think of 3 things that were positive, but she was like, no, you have to think of things that are really small, like the fact that you brushed your teeth this morning, or like the fact that you, I don't know, saw something outside when you were walking, or I don't know. So and now actually when I look back at it, so I've still got the notebook, and every day there's 3 positive things, and you're kind of like, oh, it's funny how such small things can make a massive difference to somebody that's really going through stuff. So that I always think of like positives, but that's the same as being grateful for something, but I don't know. I love dancing. I am so, like, I get a little bit too wild with it sometimes, but like I love it. I just wish I had more rhythm. Like I wish I knew how to do it more with rhythm, more skill, not just like flailing about. But yeah, I think I would love that. I think just any kind of dancing, like for instance, like my brother's girlfriend, who I actually went to school with, she's always been a dancer, and she does the musical theatre in Inverness now as well. And like just when any music she hears, she can pick up a beat and then just like can do things with rhythm. And I know it's only like 4 counts, but like I can't do that in my head. I'm just like flailing about, like I say, it's crazy. So yeah, I wish I could dance with a bit of rhythm. Risograph printing. It's nice when you find someone who's interested, because you can't really like nerd out with them. That's obviously what I do as my self-employment. They had a risograph printer at Dundee University in the illustration department. So I remember seeing it, I remember seeing a print that was risograph printed at like a fair or like online before that, like a market. And I remember already being sort of quite attracted to how it looks. And then I figured out what it was, and they had one in the department at uni, so I used it quite a lot. I just sort of fell in love with it from there. You would talk about like the different models that they might have, because like most of the risograph printer owners have like second-hand models of the printer. Some people, lucky people, have the newer models, so you talk about that, or you talk about the different ink colors that you use and different ink color combinations, the problems you've had. They're always problems, like they break down or they have error codes and you have to figure it out yourself. And so like that's quite fun, like taking it apart and things like that. I probably like, I could take apart a drum inside that printer faster than I could like change the wheel on a car or something. So like that is quite fun to like nerd about stuff like that. I always think it's easier also, like I always say that at the start, because I do the workshops. So like I tell people how it works, and I always say to them, until you see the printer running, it's quite hard to get your head around how it actually works. Like if you've never done screen printing before or something, the way you layer up color. The digital process is, yeah, probably because if you're already making an illustration digitally, you're probably already making it in layers, so it's easier to split up. But if you're making a piece of art, you do have to really think about splitting it up into layers. You can't just draw a picture and then, unless you're drawing it in black and white and like grey tones, then you can, yeah, of course you can just print it. But it's not going to have the same effect if you're like drawing something full color and then expect to just print it from there. It's very accessible if you've never heard of it before and you wanted to do it. Although I don't know, that's kind of contradictory, but I would say like, oh, we'll just draw something on Photoshop, and then we can talk about splitting it up into layers. But again, I also, every workshop I've ever taught, I've made them do analog. Like I make them draw something and split it into layers. But that I think that's because not everybody uses Photoshop. So if you've never used Photoshop before, obviously doing it digitally is going to be the harder option. Wolves, I love them because the symbolism of them. For instance, like they're very family orientated and like loyal and like a lot, like very good communication. But then at the same time, you've got like the symbolism of like a lone wolf and like, so it's like a kind of like contradictory thing. So it's like both singular but also part of a collective. Otters is another one that I've thought about. I just like them again. I'm a kind of water person. I'm very drawn to like water and things like that. Don't like fish. It sounds really stupid, but I remember the first time I was in an aquarium, I was like, I don't like this. I don't like seeing all these like fish really close up. Some of them are really ugly. So like a mammal, like an otter, is quite nice, like in the water and stuff like that. The way they sort of slink around and stuff, and also they hold hands when they sleep. Which is cute. So yeah, wolves, otter, and then I don't want to say dogs because it's like the same as wolves, isn't it? Although maybe not actually. I think I did say that before, like when I've been asked this question. I would say dogs because they're very like happy. They also, like, I was listening to something recently and it was like, dogs live in the present moment. They never really too much think about the future or the past. You know, they're just like happy to be here and do whatever in the present moment, I think.